start off with welcome to the Monster Squad podcast.
Yes, the Monster Squad podcast.
Hell yeah, dude.
Now we finally have a name and everyone's in the group. So it looks like today we're going to be talking about the first three of the Evil Dead franchise.
Yep.
I think that Rob should be the first one to start.
Cool.
All right. We also doing introductions and stuff like that too.
We can if you want. Yeah, I don't see why not.
Yeah, I think that'd be good to let people know. All right. So my name's Rob, obviously. I started getting into horror when I was about 4 years old, I want to say. My mom and dad, actually, they brought me to their friend's house, and they had like 3 older sons. And they were sitting there, and I don't know if they wanted to scare me or they were just like aggravated they had to watch a little kid. But I remember them putting on Demonic Toys and Hellraiser 3. And
Okay.
it was cool because like I remember like bits of it. Like I remember watching the little baby and the Jack in the Box clown on Demonic Toys, and it didn't really creep me out. The clown kind of did because like clowns just freaked me out. So that was kind of creepy, but I do remember Hellraiser 3 and like just falling in love, just seeing Pinhead and like thinking it was so cool. The scene that stood out to me the most, and it probably should have covered my eyes, was one of the sex scenes in there. And I think that's what made me fall in love with females, because females in horror.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I got both at the same time. So it was kind of cool, man. I enjoyed watching it, and I was hooked in ever since then. And after that, I just remember we lived near a video store, and we'd always go in there and check out. And I remember seeing just like the cover art to every movie and just wanting them. Like I remember seeing Trolls 2 and just, Candyman, Puppet Masters, Freddy's, and I was just like, I want that, can we get that? And my parents are pretty cool. They didn't like say no to anything unless it looked like, they look at the cover art and then they flip it over and they'd read it. And if it said something bad, they probably would have been like, no, you're not getting that. But I just remember always renting them in my neighborhood. I was about 6 years old when I moved here, and everybody, just all the older kids would come over. We'd all watch the movies here, have sleepovers, and the only one that really freaked me out was Tales from the Crypts. It was the intro to it, like the music, and when he pops out the coffin and starts laughing, that used to get me terrified. And it's kind of funny because my dad, he told me for the longest time, he was like, oh, that's Jim. He's our buddy. We know him. And I think he obviously was saying it to like calm me down, but I believed it. And I was like 16. And I remember I had my first girlfriend. I was telling her, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm like, my dad knows him. And he's like, no, I don't. And he's like, we don't know him. And I was like, you told me that. He's like, I said to you because you would sleep with us after because you were scared. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. And my dad would do the laugh too when he'd get to me, and like, oh, he did it perfect. Like he sounded just like the Crypt Keeper. But yeah, that's pretty much like my intro with the horror stuff. And then ever since then, I just started collecting stuff. Scream was one of the first films I remember renting when I got a little bit older. It was Scream 1, like a couple months after it was released on home video. And after that, it was just, I was always Ghostface every Halloween, pranking people, just having fun, you know what I mean? And yeah, that was it. After that, I was hooked, started collecting everything, and now I have probably 500 or more horror movies. Got to be close to it's got to be close to 1,000 by now. I don't even know. Like I have so many. And just, yeah, that's pretty much that. So do you guys want to talk about you guys and then we'll go into the Evil Dead?
Works for me.
Yeah,
right.
that's fine.
Josh, do you want to go?
Sure, man. I'll go. I got into it when I was 6. I was at a friend's house for the first time, and like he was big into horror movies. He's a couple years older than me. And he rented. We watched Halloween and Nightmare on Elm Street back to back, and then Halloween scared the hell out of me. I remember every moment of that, and then when I watched Nightmare, I don't know what it was about that movie, but it scared me worse than Halloween. And like I literally had to come home because I told my mom, I said I can't go to sleep. I'll die. And she goes, "What?" I said, "There's this guy, and if you fall asleep," and she's like, "What the hell were you doing?" And like I was a kid. Like when you're a kid, like you believe anything, man. Like I thought it was real, and like that's what started with me with like the Michael and Freddy craze, and like Rob, I rented stuff at the video store. Like it's fun to hunt stuff at the video store. It was an event. It was exciting. Looking at all the artwork on horror movies, and then Scream was a huge impact on my life as well. But I grew up like I didn't watch a lot of TV shows, but like Tales from the Crypt, like Rob said, like that opening, like me and my brother used to cover our eyes. We're like, fuck this.
Yeah, that's how I was.
I covered my eyes. He's like, I'm like, no, we don't need to see this. And I've been collecting things ever since. Like I started collecting VHSs, and like it just expanded from VHS to DVD, Blu-ray, 4Ks now, and like horror collectibles, and like it's been in the blood ever since, man. So that's my story. And I'm Josh, by the way. Sorry, I said all of my name. So yeah,
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, man.
All right. Well, my name is Jared. I'm the youngest out of the three of us. When it comes down to horror, I'm a movie fanatic as it is, but my first thing that I can remember as horror was my brother was trying to scare me, and he put on Nightmare on Elm Street.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't worried about not being able to, go to bed, but it was definitely like, what the hell did I just watch? And then I want to say probably within the same week, my sister had me watch Tales from the Crypt, and I was like, what the hell is this? And she's like, oh, this is Freddy Krueger. And I'm like, no, it's not. And so she had me so convinced that was Freddy Krueger that until like the age of, I don't know, like 7, I was able to figure out the difference. And my mom was huge into horror, so it was a way for her and I to connect. And she goes, oh, do you remember the first horror movie you ever watched? And I go, no, what? And she goes, you watched The Exorcist? I go, no, Jeez. I didn't. And she goes, yeah. I go, all right, when did this happen? She goes, well, you were 4 years old. I go, why was I watching a movie at the age of 4? A horror movie, nonetheless, in The Exorcist. She goes, I don't know. She goes, I was making dinner one night, and I'm hearing The Exorcist go off, and I turn around the corner, and you watched it in the living room. And I was like, okay. Go figure, it was the scene with the crucifix.
Jesus.
I was like,
Jesus.
okay.
No pun intended.
Like, damn. But, no, I mean, ever since that, loved horror, and, Scream was definitely something that, even brought us all together.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been a collector ever since. I originally actually started in middle school because my parents won a court case and they gave me $2,000.
Oh wow!
Oh man, I would have got tons of movies with that.
Yeah. And that's what I did. I sat there and I was like, well, I don't have a girlfriend. Like, I'm gonna buy movies. And
that's awesome.
So I've been collecting since then, and I definitely can't narrow down how many horror movies I have, but movies as a whole, maybe with my TV seasons, I have a little over 3,000, so definitely insane.
Yeah, I think I was about the same at one point, and then I had to get rid of them. But that's a lot, dude. That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a nice set, man.
But now I think we should get on to Evil Dead and go from there.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, so I guess I'll start with that. So the first one, I really did enjoy going back to it. The last time I saw it was probably, oh man, I want to say I was like 17 maybe. So it's been a while. And so I'm watching it and I'm noticing a few different things. Like I thought the dialogue at times was a little cringy. I get it's an older movie though, so I wasn't gonna like pick it apart that much.
Yeah.
I still think that the rape scene with the woods and stuff, I was like, dude, I'm like, I think that's what made me afraid of the woods when I was a kid.
Right?
I'm like, now I know why. Seeing these branches coming at her, and I'm just like, Jesus. That was a cool scene though. It was cool how they did it. I'm trying to think too. I think like Bruce Campbell, overall, like he was the best of all of it. Like his acting. Sometimes I noticed like the latex was visible on like the characters when they were possessed, but I'm trying to remember too. I'm like, all right, it's old. I believe it was an independent film, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, it's not gonna look Hollywood. I did think it was cool with like when they were all laughing, like all the characters just laughing and shit, and he's and just messing with Ash.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool. And then like I had a little few things that stood out too. It reminded me of in Pee Wee Herman, the part where she's like, "Tell him Large Marge sent you." Like that's when the bodies were decomposing. It reminded me of that, like the way it looked. But that was pretty cool. I did notice a few things in it that I didn't notice before, like Easter egg things. Like I didn't know they had the Hills Have Eyes poster.
Yeah, in the
I
basement.
never noticed that. And there's a scene where I can't remember some of the characters' names. I felt like the character development wasn't the best.
No.
No.
But because I just remembered Ash, like I'm like I don't even know who the other people are. But there's one of the scenes where she's possessed, and I believe she's like in the basement, and the girl's just like, "What have you done? Her eyes? What's with her eyes?" And I'm like, I was getting flashbacks of Rosemary's Baby. When they were saying that about his eyes, and yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. I was seeing these little things. Overall, though, I gave it a 7 out of 10. I know that might be kind of low for some people. I can see why there's fans of Evil Dead, especially the first one. I can see that, but for me, overall, it seemed like one of those where I watched it and I felt like I'd watch it again, but I'm not in a rush to do it unless there's like, another movie that comes out and I have to rewatch them all again.
Yeah.
But I thought it was fun. It was a good time, and I just, I had fun with it. But
it's a good rating, man. You gave it a good rating, though. It's not bad,
Yeah, thanks. So that's my take on it.
Nice. I like that.
I think, Josh, you want to go?
Yeah, sure. I would say this. Like, I loved the cinematography of the Evil Dead itself. The way the camera moves when it's coming through, like, even in the opening scene, man, like they're driving the car, like you see the evil like coming toward, like watching them. Like that stuff, I loved. I loved how it was more. It's probably the most serious out of the three, horror wise. And like you said, Ash is the best character in this movie. Okay. Like,
Yeah.
It's weird they call him Ashley. I'm like, dude, like his parents are so fucking mean, dude. Like, but I loved it. Was more. This one is more dark and serious. Like the other two are fun as well. Like we'll get into those next. But like this is a more serious horror film that we're watching. Yes, like Rob said, you can see the makeup very visible in some points. There was creepy moments though, like the camera angles, dude. Like they're outside when they open the book and like they're getting undressed in a scene with him and the girlfriend and the boyfriend. Like the evil's going through the window, like looking past the window. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck? I was like, there was some creepy imagery in the movie, man. Like there really is some creepy stuff, and like, we'll swallow your soul. Not that big a sequel, I don't remember, but like, I love the effects. I love the stop motion animation stuff at the very end when they're all dissolving. Like it looks cheap, but like there's a certain charm to it, I think. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but like there is a scene I think where they're in the house and like you can see above them.
Oh yeah.
You can see like the set wasn't all the way. It's like, oh yeah. But I do like this film, man. I do. I think it's fun to watch. I probably, I mean, the character development and stuff like that, like Rob said, the lines aren't the best, but like there's some cool moments in the film for sure. It's definitely more serious than the three, so like I'm probably gonna give it an 8 out of 10. Like I mean, it was even the ending was dark. Like I don't, and then
I did enjoy the ending. Yeah.
I mean, the ending was really cool too. So I mean, I really enjoyed watching it again, man. It was fun.
Yeah, I would agree with all of that.
Yeah.
So let's see. As Evil Dead, I know it came out. Where did it come out? 81.
Yeah.
I believe it was. Yeah.
Now, kind of like you guys were saying, with the character development, there wasn't any. It just seemed like all it was about, Bruce Campbell. Like they wanted to promote him and nobody else in the film. But at the same time, I mean, I also agree with Rob. But like the makeup was, it wasn't as good as obviously that we deal with nowadays. But I also agree with Josh with the way the camera was. That's something you don't see nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
I did enjoy that. They they kind of got a little bit in detail with like the blood. I mean, obviously it wasn't like, how can I say, it wasn't, you couldn't really like tell it was fake, but nowadays you can.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I liked how, like, for example, they did give a little bit of a character towards that guy, Scott. I think that was his name. Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
About how, he was joking around with the tape player and, it freaked out Ash's sister. And, they gave each character, actual responses that real people would have. Ash wanted to be with his girl and, he did all the, cute, trying to act like he was going to propose when in reality it was just a necklace. But, you add the actual personality of each character, and then you add how the evil came at everybody. Then you put in the aspect of how each Deadite had its own, like, for example, his girlfriend, all she did was cackle more than anything. And then,
yeah.
Then you had Scott when he was a Deadite. Like, I think he was probably one of the worst Deadites, but his sister was, locked in the basement for a good portion of the film. But then, like you guys mentioned earlier, that wood scene, that was like, I think that was crossing the line a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, it's definitely like, oh well, that's intriguing, I guess. But the movie as a whole, I do agree. Out of the whole trilogy, it was very, very serious when it came down to horror itself. But I think I'd probably give it. I think I'd probably give it like a 7.5 out of 10 because
good rating, man.
Bruce, Evil Dead is a phenomenal film for coming out in 81.
Yeah.
And even though I'm not in a rush to go back and watch it, just like you guys were saying, it's good enough that if I see it on like TNT or something, I'm not going to change the channel.
Yeah, I agree, man. 100%.
So.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And that's how I kind of felt with it. It was one of those where I was like, I don't dislike it, but it's not something that I'm like ready to like jump out and watch all the time.
Right.
But it's definitely something I can enjoy when I watch it.
Yeah, totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Good ratings, guys. I liked it.
Yeah, they're pretty much even. I mean,
yeah.
Considering what we had 7, 7.5, and an 8.
Yeah.
Pretty
close.
Yeah. All right. So Evil Dead 2.
Oh, do you guys mind if I take this one first?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, bro.
Okay, so people might be shocked by this, but like, so I should probably admit, like, with they couldn't get the rights from the first film, which this is kind of a remake, you guys. I mean, if you watch Evil Dead,
Yeah.
Everybody's like, why the fuck is he going back to the cabin? Dude, they had to do it again.
Yeah, because I was confused too at first. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, and like when you don't know, it's like, oh yeah, like they did have to go back there, didn't they? And like I will say this: better budget, better effects, better acting. So,
Yes.
they kind of like did, as much as I love the first one for the seriousness. This is a perfect blend of both comedy and horror. Okay, it does both. I love the effects. The late great Danny Hicks, may he rest in peace. Bobby Joe, like, come on now. Even story, everything was better. I felt like I appreciate the first film for what it was because of it was pretty much guerrilla filmmaking, but like here, I mean, they had amazing special effects. Mark Shustrom, who did Nightmare on Elm Street 2 stuff, and like Can Be Guys, and it was just as good to me, man. Like I enjoyed the story, the effects, the acting. Everything was done so much better. It really was. I mean, besides the mechanical effects and stuff, like it blew me away. Like there was some creepy moments in the film where you're like, damn, dude.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, and there's parts where you're laughing your ass off. I'm just like,
Yeah.
like, and like, I thought the characters were way better here than the original. I thought even Ash's personality here was a lot more fun, man. Like his personality has definitely tweaked and changed when he's wrestling his own hand, like fighting his own hand in the kitchen.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah.
I got something to say about that scene too later, but yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm looking forward to hearing that. And then what else? It's pretty much the same. Oh my god. Okay, so Henrietta. How do I miss that? Sam Raimi's brother played Henrietta, which that whole thing is just amazing. What else? It's pretty much the same story a little bit, but they tweak things here and there. And then of course, like the ending, which we will get to, where like he's in, which leads to Army of Darkness. But again, I thought the acting was amazing. I thought there was better written characters here. There was really fun like effects, and I had oh god, I feel bad saying this a little bit. I had a much better time watching this than the first one, even though I liked the first one.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably give this a 9, dude, out of 10. Like I really had fun watching this again. I was laughing. I was like, oh, that's creepy, but like I was laughing a lot. So
that's actually, yeah, that's good, dude. I would agree with a lot of that stuff. I felt similar when I was watching this movie.
Rob, do you want to go?
Yeah. So with this movie, I like that it jumped. I'm like, yeah, I was confused at first because I was like, wait, what the hell's going on? I think we even talked to Josh about that, and did a little bit of research too. I'm like, oh, okay, so this is kind of like a remake, reboot, sequel. So I was like, all right. So once I kind of understood that, it was a little bit better. But I loved how it just started off. It jumped straight into it, and it never let up. Like it had my attention the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
In the cabin scene, like when Ash is getting chased and stuff throughout the cabin, like he's just like running through things, and like it's just so cool the way it was shot. I love that about it. I also like that we get to see Ash become possessed. That was kind of cool.
Yes.
Yeah,
I like that. I did like too his girlfriend, she's like headless and dancing around and stuff. Like
That was a good one.
Yeah, it reminded me of like a Tim Burton movie.
Oh yeah.
It was cool though. It was very cool. It was just like, because it was creepy at the same time. Like I could picture being a kid seeing that and being like, what the hell is going on?
Exactly.
I thought it was pretty cool. And yeah, the Henrietta, the cellar scene, that was just creepy.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, this is pretty good. Well, we also get in this movie, we get the birth of the chainsaw hand.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool to see. And I did like, and that was the other thing with the kitchen scene with the hand. I was getting, I don't know if anyone else got this, but when I was seeing it, I was getting Idle Hands vibe.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, I'm like, I never put two and two together. Maybe that's because I feel like I saw Idle Hands probably before Evil Dead 2. I don't think I saw Evil Dead 2 till I was a little bit older.
Oh, cool.
And I remember being a kid and renting the other one. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, this is reminding me of that. And I don't know if that's where they got it from. But the only things that really bugged me about it, like, I thought the movie was amazing. Like, I loved it. I do agree, like, it was a perfect blend. I put it above the first one.
Yeah.
Definitely do. There was a few things, though, like, I didn't like towards the ending, that ostrich looking like demon thing. I'm like, I was like, what is it? Looks so bad. That was one issue. The other issue, and I pointed out to you guys, I don't know if you remember, but you know, Ash getting kicked down in the basement.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the next scene shows him falling in the complete opposite direction. I'm like, I know I'm the type that nitpicks and looks through these things, and not a lot of people would notice that, but I was just like, it bugs me. But it doesn't take anything from the movie. It's just one of those things that I wish they'd, like, someone else in the writing room or whatever directing it would look at it and be like, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And then the final scene with the demon flying, just very corny. I couldn't get past that part either. So that's why it knocked it down a little, was just that and that ostrich looking thing.
Yeah.
So I gave it 8 out of 10. I put it above the first one. I don't think it's flawless, but I mean, obviously, you know, that type of movie back then, because what year was that? 87?
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
I think it was around like 86, 87, or 88. It was one of those.
Yeah, I know it was a little bit sometime. It was 87. Okay, so yeah, so I mean, I understand that there were other movies out there that, you know, were doing similar things with the effects and weren't the best. But yeah, I gave it an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. It's just that finale and that final friggin' scene that made me go like, eh. But other than that, it was really good.
No, when he does, he goes, eh.
Yeah, I was like, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Fair rating, man. Though fair, man. I like it. That's good.
Yeah, thanks.
So as far as Evil Dead 2, I kind of goes with our, you know, our giant. I guess I'm the odd man out on this one. So I understand where they're going at it. How, you know, he went back to the cabin. However, it kind of annoyed me how it was acting as if, you know, the first one never happened.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah.
Because I was sitting there and I'm like, because I mean, I didn't do any research to figure out, you know, why they did it that way. And a lot of people may not. But I'm sitting here, I'm like, all right, I just watched the first one. Now I'm watching the second, and he's going back to the cabin with just his girlfriend. Doesn't know anything about Deadites, but knows how to kill them. It's like, how does it make any sense whatsoever? And then I do like how, you know, they showed, you know, Ash becoming a Deadite. That was intriguing.
Yeah, I like that.
It didn't really make sense on, you know, how, like, for example, like the first one, I mean, like a good portion of it was all at night, so they didn't really, you know, talk about it. But it's like, what, during the day he can't be a Deadite because it's Dead by Dawn?
Yeah, I was a little. I picked up on that too.
I do agree with Rob. The dancing skeleton, you know, was hilarious.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you bring in the professor's daughter, and then conveniently, you know, her and Ash almost end up as an item.
Yeah.
Then you had another tree scene.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Like, Jesus Christ.
And
And then, so as you guys are mentioning about, you know, his hand, it did give idle hands, and granted, I did see Evil Dead before I saw Idle Hands, but it still gives you vibes whether, you know, you saw it prior or, you know, after. But, you know, Sam Raimi gave it the hand itself a nice, good personality. You're like flipping him off and laughing at him.
Yeah.
And then you get that one scene when Ash is losing his mind and everything's laughing at him.
That was cool. Yeah, the deer and stuff. And all
Yeah,
that.
it's like, what the
that was-
hell?
Yeah.
I do like what Josh said about how Henrietta was, Sam Raimi's brother in costume. That was hilarious. I didn't
even know
realize
that. Yeah, I did not know that.
Shit, there was something else. I do like how they incorporated the lost pages of the Necronomicon.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was definitely something vital that needed to kind of stretch the planes.
Yep.
But there was a lot more comedy in this.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you guys were right. There is, Raimi seemed like he gave Campbell a lot more personality than he did in the first film.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And like Rob was saying, the characters, they acted a lot better than in the previous film. Simple as that. They weren't in it for as long as the other ones, but their acting was a hell of a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you bring it down to how it ended. Getting ripped into a vortex and getting down to King Arthur's time.
Yeah.
There's no way Deadites were during that, which obviously we'll talk about in the next. But
Yeah.
overall, I mean, the movie was good. But because of the factor of them kind of wiping the whole previous film, I'll give it like a 6 out of 10.
Okay.
Respect it, man.
Yeah.
So
that's kind of what knocked mine down a little bit too, was because of that. It probably would have, for me, it probably would have gone a 9, just if they had incorporated that
Right.
and ignore it, because I thought it was done way better than the first one. Like,
I agree,
did
exactly.
it well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So now, Army of Darkness, the third and final of this trilogy that included Bruce Campbell before the TV series.
Yes.
Who would like to go?
I guess I'll start just because this was my least favorite of the 3. I really wanted to give it another chance because I do know there's fans of this movie. I remember watching it the first time I saw it back in my 20s, and I was just like, this is terrible. And I wanted to respect it, so rewatching it, I was like, you know what? I like this. It's not bad, but it has a lot of moments where I'm like, ugh. Like, it wasn't as bad first viewing, but this time I just, oh my God, I don't know. There was just some things about it that I was just like, I almost wanted the movie to hurry up and finish. Like, I just wanted to fast forward through some of it. And I was like, this is not good, dude, when you feel like this in a movie, especially it being the last one. So, I don't know. I did like that it was in a new setting. Same time, I didn't like that it was in the medieval times. I'm just not a fan of that.
Yeah.
I know plenty of people that do like that stuff, though, and I'm not knocking it. It's just, for me, it was just like too far back, and I'm like, I can't get into this. Some things that did stand out to me that I did enjoy, though, was like Ash getting sucked into the book, like the book scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And Ash versus Ash, and having like the little mini ones and stuff running around.
Yeah.
Like, that was cool. Like, I was like, this is like, I like that. And then it would do that at times, and then it would take me out. And then there'd be like that Three Stooges like shit with him like getting slapped around by it. I'm like, come on, man! Like, this is, why is it doing this again? Like, it would catch me and then it would drop me again. And I thought the only thing I really did enjoy was like the last 30 minutes of the movie, like the fighting and stuff. Like, that was cool, seeing them all storm it and like try to take over. But I was like, that was it. There really wasn't anything else that jumped out to me.
Yeah.
I really don't feel like I'd ever want to watch this movie again, unless, like, even if this was on TV and there was nothing else, I would probably just go to sleep and not watch it. I just, for me, it's a pass. And I don't want to bash it too much, but yeah, I'd give it a 5 out of 10. It's not my favorite of the films at all. Like, my order definitely goes 2, 1, 3 for the original.
I respect your opinion though, dude. Like you have, like it wasn't for you, man. That's all.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess I will get. So Rob's dude's like, oh my god, like I'm kind of. This is my least favorite. I laugh at this movie, but like my main concern with this movie is this is not a horror film. This is a comedy.
Yeah.
I laugh. Don't get me wrong. I laugh a shit ton when I watch this. Like, like Rob was saying, that the little three mini me's, like it's like London Bridge is falling. Like,
Yeah.
like there is some cool stuff in here, but like, I will say this: this is probably like the best Ash we've ever seen, besides two. Like,
Yeah, I would agree with that.
he just doesn't give a shit about anybody. He's pretty selfish. He wants to do his own shit. Like, he doesn't care about anybody. He messes up everything. He brings the deadites to life because he didn't say the damn spell right. So,
Oh yeah, that was kind of funny.
there are some cool things I like in the movie. Like, I mean, I did notice too, like the effects were lacking in this one. Like, they weren't as heavy handed as they were in like two, right? Mm-hmm. I think Ash is the best part of this movie again. I think my favorite scene is the opening, where like they're getting thrown into the death pit with the blood geyser of blood just shooting up like ridiculously high.
That
like,
was cool. Yeah.
Like, dude, like, nobody has that much blood, dude. Like, come on. Like, it's not scary. It's funny. The whole movie's hilarious. That's the thing. There's some cool effects. I love how he brought back the the Evil Dead shot where he's going into the windmill and like he like locks the door and like you see the camera angle of the camera just like hitting the door back and forth. I'm like, that stuff was cool. Mm-hmm. But like the ending fight scenes, like he said, were awesome. Like they're all like fighting a bunch of skeletons. That was fun. There wasn't as many as effects though as the I guess you could say the first two. I was just like, wow, like what's going on? Like they're supposed to be back in medieval times, so I'm like, I don't understand this. Like you just see a bunch of skeletons, but character wise, like I'm trying to think of like the characters. Like I didn't really give a shit about anybody besides Ash. Yeah, the ending was cool where he's like back in ma'am, we're gonna have to ask you to leave the store. Like she's possessed.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like the ending was cool. I will say that. I had fun watching it, but like Rob said too, I'm not. If this is on, I'm not. This isn't like Evil Dead or Evil Dead 2 to me. I'm not gonna like on every time. I'd probably be like, yeah. Depending on what part it's at, I'll keep it on. But like, I'm gonna give this a 6, man. I didn't hate it, but like, it's definitely the weakest in the trilogy for me. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I hope we're all on the same path with this. We'll see what Jared thinks, but
I'm dying to know.
All right, you boys ready?
I'm ready.
Yeah.
All right, so I kind of like how they, how can I say it? They said they used with Henry the Red Man, right?
Yeah.
So they're also focused on that, but they don't question why he was shotgun or a chainsaw for a hand.
Yeah.
And it's like, they bring him straight to King Arthur's palace, throws him in with the Deadeye. And like you guys were saying, when all the blood goes up, I'm sorry, but there isn't that much blood.
Yeah.
In someone's body. I don't care if you're a person or a Deadeye.
Mm-hmm.
I do like how he emphasized that that's his boomstick.
Oh,
yeah. As you guys know, they put that in all the video games, but that's the only time that he specifies that it's his boomstick.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, as far as characters, I think the only person, besides Ash himself, was, I think, Queen Maiden or whatever.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
She was very critical, but, then we went to Necronomicon. I liked how he was stuck in the book, like you guys said. I also liked how the book bit the hell out of his hand.
Yeah, that was funny.
And then, like you guys were saying, like all the mini ashes, it definitely drew me in. And it only kept me in because of the comedy aspect of it.
Yeah.
And then the fighting scenes were good. I appreciated the ash on ash.
Yeah, that was cool.
I didn't like how he was the main villain, but I mean, I guess that was the only way you could really play well on it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, the end of the fight was kind of interesting. It kind of went from, comedy to funny to comedy. Like, it was, like, when I say comedy to funny, I mean, like, like Ash's usual comedy with, like, oh, I can easily kill you, compared to the funny parts where you have that little, like, half skeleton trying to kill Ash. And then he's like, oh, I'm going to get you, I'm going to get you. And then within a second, he gets, what is it, like a bag of rocks on his head?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I do like how they sent him back, but go figure, he forgot, didn't say the right words. So there was definitely a good transition to that. But the movie as a whole, I'm probably going to go with a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, I dig it, man.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it was definitely a good one, but I don't think it really needs to be made.
Yeah, I agree. It was kind of one of those that, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but that's my thoughts. And it looks like we are done with this franchise for now.
Yeah, next is TV show, which is what, 3 seasons, 30 episodes?
Yes.
And then the remake. And then when Rise comes out.
So I'm thinking maybe next week we'll do the TV show and the remake.
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah, it's totally to me. I'm cool with that.
Sounds good to me. Then I guess that is the end of our first Monster Squad podcast.
Cool, man. This is awesome.
Yeah, we'll do next week, same time, Saturday.
Yeah.
And we'll cover the TV show. And if you want to do you want to do the TV show and the remake, or just the TV show?
We can figure it out.
All right, because I'm gonna say it's like 3 seasons, so that'd be a little
Lengthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll talk to you guys then.
All right, guys.